there you have it, safely tucked up inside the garage. There's a new, and there's the old just waiting to be collected. Yeah, no difference between the two bikes, both exactly the same color, same model, Suzuki GSX-S 1000 GT. Yeah, same tires, Michelin Pilot Road 6s, although I have put new brake discs in the new bike, SBS brake pads, because the original brakes are horrendous. Even in the old bike the brakes weren't good. I still need to switch over the screen. I've got a MRA Vario touring screen, VTM screen, so that still needs to be fitted. I still need to put the tank bag on. Yeah, and then that's it. And oh yeah, I still need to collect the panniers from the dealership. I've even got the same tank pad on the bike as previous. Everything's exactly the same. Yeah, so brilliant bike, and let's get on it and see how she goes.
I'm out today with my mate Dave here. It's Saturday the 12th of April, and it's just past 11 o'clock in the morning here in the UK. We're riding through the Peak District. We've just gone through Leek. I'm unsure where Dave has taken me on his mystery tour, so we'll just have to wait and see. Oh, it's a bit naughty going through the gates, Dave. Yeah, it's spring here in the UK, so you'll see lots of little lambs bouncing around in the fields. Everything is lush and green, and it's surprisingly warm today. My bike is showing 17 degrees Celsius, but the Suzuki GSX-S 1000 GT, it does overread with the ambient air temperature. But I am aware that today the temperature is going to get up to a maximum of 18 degrees Celsius. Oh, what's happening here? What is happening here? The person's on the wrong side of the road as well. So yeah, oh, look at that lovely little stream, people sitting by the side of the stream, enjoying some family time. That's what life's all about, just enjoying life. Let me see if I can, as soon as I try these potholes, let's see if I can try and get past these cars. There's some potholes. Oh gosh. Anyway, so don't know if anybody's noticed, looking down at my dash, you can see I have got a grand total of 57 miles on the bike. Yeah, that's it. So I've gone and replaced the bike, and I've got myself a new Suzuki GSX-S 1000 GT. Suzuki were offering a fantastic deal on 0% finance, so yeah, I was like a rat in the upper drain pipe, straight in there, got myself on that 0% deal. People will say to me, "Oh, Paul, why did you get yourself another GT? Why don't you try something different?" Well, do you know, I did think long and hard about it. I did go and test ride a Suzuki GSX-S 1000 GX, but I just didn't seem to get on with that bike. I think it's because the suspension was so tall, it just felt very ponderous, you know, going through bends and that, and there were various other issues, you know, vibrations right through the whole bike, bars, seat, everything. The seat was a bit uncomfortable, kept throwing me forward into the tank, etc, etc. So I decided not to go for a GX. Oh, look at that fantastic views again. Brilliant. Isn't England beautiful? When it starts getting warmer and sunnier, England can be magnificent with views. So yeah, I did think long and hard over the winter about what type of bike I really wanted, and the thought did cross my mind to get myself a light, naked bike. The only problem with a naked bike is the type of riding that I enjoy. I enjoy doing touring on the continent. So you do need a bit of weather protection, because when you're out touring, you're thousands of miles from home. You know, there could be a cloud burst, you don't know. So it's always good to have a fairing, and which offers a bit of weather protection. And I was racking my brains. I couldn't think what else to get. I was coming to the end of my PCP deal on the previous bike, so I knew I still had a bit of time. I did consider the Kawasaki Ninja 1000 SX. Well, actually there's a new version out, there's an 1100, but the interest on that, I think it was about 8.9% APR, so I thought, no, I'm not going to be paying almost 9% interest on a bike. You know, in the past when I've got new bikes, it's always been a 0% deal. I don't think I've paid more than 5 or 6%. You know, if I was forced. I think the previous Suzuki GT, that was about 6% APR. But yeah, when you're creeping up towards about 9% interest, it's just a bit ridiculous, isn't it? Oh, please don't do that. Just drive. I'll make my way around you. Thank you. So yeah, I did consider the Kawasaki Ninja 1100 SX, but the interest payments were just too high. I did see that they did drop down the interest, or the finance interest rates, on the previous generation, the 1000cc Kawasaki Ninja 1000 SX, but I didn't really like that bike. I got the opportunity to try these bikes side by side at the Manchester Motorbike Show way back in, I think it was March of 2022, when I bought my original bike. And I didn't like the look of the Kawasaki. When I sat on it, I felt more comfortable on the Suzuki than I did the Kawasaki, and I like the looks of the Suzuki GT here. So yeah, I just couldn't think what to get, so I just thought, oh, you know, as soon as the deal came up, 0%, I said, I'm having that. So believe it or not, I'm actually paying lower monthly payments for this than I was the previous bike. Let's see if I can get past this person. And again, I've taken it over 3 years, 0% interest. And I am thinking that long term, this could be the bike for me. The type of riding I do, touring on the continent, absolutely love it. Other than that, I might go out the odd weekend with Dave. We'll just do a run here through the Peak District or so, or up through North Yorkshire, Forest of Bowland area, Trough of Bowland area. But yeah, it's the majority of my riding. I've got the bike insured for about 3,000 miles a year, and generally that's what I do. My existing Suzuki GT, it's only got 8,953 miles after 3 years, so I don't put many miles on the bikes, and the majority of my miles, I'd say of the 3,000 miles I do a year, 2,000 of those are done on the bike in a week or two period, riding on the continent. So 2,000 miles riding on the continent, doing tours. So where am I all going with this then? Well, the bike has now got 60 miles on its odometer. Here. So I am running it in. When I picked it up from the bike shop though, they did say to me about running in, because I asked them, look, do I need to run it in? You know, what's the limitations? Keep it under in certain RPM? He said, no, just ride it normally, just be sensible until the first service. So first service is due at about 600 miles. I get a warning on the dashboard here of the Suzuki's. Really great dashboard this. Immediately I've gone and changed it to the night mode. I just prefer that look instead of the white. The white is a bit bright for me, so I just have completely black with all the digits in white. Yeah, so what can I say about this bike? What have I actually done to it? So you know, learning from experience with the previous GT, I still have the screen. I've yet to fit it because I've only picked up this bike last weekend, and we had friends around for a barbecue, so couldn't really ride it much last weekend. So this is the first time that I'm actually taking it out for a ride, other than riding it home from the dealership. So I've got that MRA touring screen, that Vario touring screen, so I will fit that to this bike. I still need to fit the tank bag. So I've taken it off the old bike. I generally fit radiator guards to my bikes, and that's ever since I had an old Kawasaki ZX-10. I had it on one of the very first rides I went out on. I was miles away from home, probably about 2 hours from home. And riding along these roads, I got a stone that went through the radiator. So ever since then, I've always just put a radiator guard. However, the previous bike, I had an R&G radiator guard fitted, and my goodness, it was difficult to fit that thing, really difficult. So I will not be getting another R&G radiator guard. It's just too finicky trying to attach it on the right hand side of the top of the radiator here. I can't even remember how I managed to get it in there the last time, but you know, when I took everything off the old bike so I could send it back to Suzuki, I did try. And after an hour or so, I just gave up. I thought, you know what, they can actually just keep that radiator guard. I'm seriously not interested in fitting it to the new bike. So I've got to look for a new radiator guard and not RMG. So if anybody has any suggestions, please just put it down in the comments, and I'll have a look into it. The other thing I wanted to do with this bike is to fit bar rises. Now, I'm 5'9.5", don't forget the half. But I have exceptionally short legs and short arms, so my reach isn't there. So I think if I could just bring these bars back just an inch or so, just slightly, it'll be far more comfortable, because at the moment I'm almost straight-armed bike. Other changes that I've already incorporated. Now, these Suzuki GTs, they aren't perfect, so they have a few foibles. However, they are tremendous fun. So if you're coming from sports bikes, this is probably a good step, you know, before you progress on to, I don't know, full-blown adventure bikes or whatever it is that you know, the older gents prefer riding, or I should say the more mature gents prefer riding. I am one of those older chaps. So yeah, what mods have I done? Now, brakes wise, I haven't changed the master cylinder for the front brake. The front brake is rubbish on these GTs as far as I'm concerned. What I have done, as soon as I purchased the bike, I asked the dealer if they could fit new brake pads to this bike. So they've done that. They fitted the is it SPS or SBS pads. They've done that for me. So those are in, still trying to bed them in. But yeah, the brakes still don't feel fantastic, so we'll give it a bit more time. Let these brakes bed in nicely, and then we'll have a look-see. The other thing I've changed immediately was the rear tyre, and I probably should have put more thought into this. So what I've done is I've gone and changed the section of the profile of the tyre. So instead of being a 50, it's a 55, because I did read on certain places that fitting a 55 rear tyre did quicken the steering a bit, you know, and I can vouch for that. So the 50 tyre was a bit flat, so when you go into corners and that, it just felt a bit slow. Now with the new, it felt a bit slow turning into corners. Now with the new 55 I've got on the rear, it does tend to flip-flop more into corners very quickly, like very similar to a sports bike. So I've got that done. I'm yet to pick up the panniers. So panniers are on their way apparently. Suzuki only issue them once the bike has been purchased, so I'll probably get those fitted at the same time that I go for the first service. So that's still coming. Other than that, I did look into top boxes for this bike, but couldn't really see anything that I liked. You know, all the big manufacturers, say Jiffy and all of those, they've got this weird contraption that hangs off the back of the bike like scaffolding. I didn't like the look of that, so I'll probably just continue to ride this bike without a top box. I did have a look at, it has grab handles under the rear seat, and it reminded me of, I used to have a Honda VFR 800, very similar setup to the grab handles in that. I had the old 2003 model, and I was wondering if there was some sort of metal bracket that could be fitted in place of the grab handles. I have also seen online videos from Suzuki just saying that the rear subframe isn't up to strength for a top box and pillion, etc. But generally I don't ride much with a pillion. So yeah. Any other mods? Well, oh yeah, the other thing, immediately as soon as I got the bike bought through the dealership, I asked them also to fit some new tyres for me. The original tyres that Suzuki supplies with these bikes, they are dire. So immediately I've had the Michelin Pilot 6s fitted, and I've also mentioned that I did change the profile of the tyre. So not earlier I said the section, it's actually the profile of the tyre. So these are the 55 profile. What else can I add? Yeah, so I'm going to be doing another 3 years on a Suzuki GT. I think these are great bikes. By no means are they perfect. The bike still has the buzziness in the bars for me. However, I'm hoping that with the bar risers, that might just change the natural frequency of the handlebars. So hopefully that will dampen some of the vibrations. And I'm also hoping with the 55 rear section, with a 55 rear profile tyre, that that will lower the RPM somewhat, I'm hoping. So we'll see how that all works out. I haven't got any tours planned this year. I had my sister was originally going to come and visit me from South Africa. She was going to come out to the UK in March and stay for a couple of months. Those plans have been delayed while she's getting all her travel documents in order. So I nipped out to South Africa in March. I've uploaded a few videos of that. Go and have a look, see if you're interested. And I believe my sister is now looking to come out to the UK towards the end of summer. So I've got no tours planned. Generally we go away end of June, July, August, sometime around there, and we'll go for a couple of weeks, and my mates will choose somewhere in Europe. I believe this year they're going to Germany again. We did go to Germany last year, where we took in the Nürburgring and various other areas. I'm unsure exactly which area they're going to this year. I believe they are going back to Germany, so yeah, that'll be nice. Germany's nice for touring. Very pleasant. So yeah, so here we are on the GT, just enjoying some little back roads. Except I don't know where Dave is taking us today. This mystery tour. And I'm generally taking it slow on the bike because although I was told you don't have to run it in, just ride normally, mechanically I'm quite sympathetic, so I'm not going to be ragging this bike. I'll be riding sensibly, just letting all the engine components and brake components and wheels etc. just bed in nicely. I've not even checked everything on this bike. I basically just changed the colour of the screen and updated the time, and that was it. I still need to check that the cruise control works. The quick shifter does work. I have tested that this morning. But yeah, otherwise it's good to be back in the saddle of a GT. So there you have it. New bike, new Suzuki GT. It's probably one of the best bikes I've had. Now I know people generally say that as soon as they buy something nice and shiny and new, but I personally I believe this is probably one of the best bikes I've had. The best bike I've ever had was an old 2006 Honda CBR 600F. Man, I love that bike. I did so many miles on that bike, and absolutely everywhere. However, I didn't tour on that bike. And many years later, I had a Honda VFR 800 that I used for work, and that was a really good bike. This Suzuki GT just reminds me of a Honda VFR, slightly more modern, a bit quicker, just as comfortable, and you can do it all. Do it all with this bike as you could with the Honda VFR 800. So at weekends you can go out and have a bit of a play with your mates, or if you're up to it, you know, take a couple of weeks off and go touring. It's got massive panniers on this bike, 36 litre panniers. Well, each pannier is 36 litres, so one of the largest panniers that the sports bike, sorry, not sports bike, of the I've forgotten what you call these bikes now, sports touring bikes. I think it's only the adventure bikes that may have like 50 litre panniers that would be bigger than the 36 litre panniers on the Suzuki GT. But yeah, looking forward to spending another 3 years on this bike. Really enjoy it. Probably one of the better bikes that I've owned. I've owned a fair few bikes, sports bikes. I've owned an adventure bike, had an Africa Twin, also had the VFR 800. So yeah, this is good. Not quite ready to go full on into adventure bikes. You know, I've had a bit of a foray with the Africa Twin, but it was just too big a bike. And you know, let's be honest, we're not getting any younger. Yeah, I dropped that Africa Twin. My mate dropped that Africa Twin. Yeah, it was a big heavy bike. It was top heavy as well. So I think now in modern days they've realised this, and you know, bikes used to get bigger and bigger and bigger until now. I think they've realised that people are in the market now for smaller bikes. The number of small bikes here being sold in the UK is phenomenal. I've just seen there were loads of people buying the Royal Enfield 350, and I think there was also a BSA that came out. I'm unsure if that was also 350 or 300, but now Honda has recently released a 350cc too. I'm quite keen to see if Honda release a 500 version. That'll be interesting. I'd be very interested in that, because although this bike is great for touring, you know, if I just wanted to go to town, you know, for a mile or two ride with my other half, don't really need this sort of bike. It's okay, it's comfortable in that, but I just thought, yeah, I'd like to have a second bike where I can just mooch around, something cheap, something relatively inexpensive. Not going to break the bank. Now those Honda CB350s, they are, I think, a pound under £4,000. So yeah, I can understand the draw. Very keen to look at one myself, just for little local rides to the shop or to town. But if there is a 500 coming, yeah, I'll probably get that as a second bike. But yeah, we'll just see what happens. You know, there's lots of other things that I need to do and organise in the meantime. But yeah, what's happening there? Is that police? See some yellow vests there? No. I wonder what that's all about. Right, well, I shall end this video here. Hopefully that was clear as mud. Oh yes, I should actually tell you before I go, when I bought this bike from Powerslide Motorcycles down in Stoke. One of my mates, Lord Villiers, he put me onto Powerslide Motorcycles down in Stoke, and they've offered me such good service in the past that I decided to buy a bike through them. And then no sooner had I called them up to place the order for the bike, then I found out that they were closing their Stoke branch and relocating everything to their Derby branch. So I was a bit disappointed by that. But hey, it just means a slightly longer ride. for some great service. And when I went to this, the story that I actually want to get onto, or the point I'm trying to make, is when I was going to part exchange the previous Suzuki GSX-1000 GT, I was told that there was negative equity in the bike. And I think the negative equity was about £875 there or thereabouts. So what we've decided to do to try and save myself, I would say almost £1,000. It was, to be specific, it was like 770 something pounds that I've saved. What I've done is I've actually retained the old bike, and I will return that to Suzuki. I just have to do the voluntary termination, pay the final payment. I think it's like £259 or something like that. Powerslide also gave me a 50% discount on the heated grips of this bike, so that lowered the cost too. So overall I've made a decent saving of 770 odd pounds, which is fantastic, and that's all because I decided not to part exchange the old bike. So if you're in the market for a new bike, just be aware you may have negative equity in your bikes, and yeah, you could do something like I've done and save yourself a bob or two. It certainly helped. So yeah, with that I'll end this video. I'll also just do a little walk around the bike. I'll stop at home later, do a little walk around the bike and just point out the tyres and the brakes, etc. And then just show you the two bikes that I've now got. Suzuki still need to just arrange a collection date. So yeah. So with that, we'll end it here. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Ciao for now. Bye.